Joshua chapter 10, Joshua and the Israelites are overcoming the 5 kings that were leading their armies against them, and the kings have died, and now there's one step left. They have to get rid of the dead bodies. And so the Bible wants us to know that they placed the bodies of the 5 kings in the cave where the kings had sought refuge, which is kind of ironic. That the place that they had hoped would save them very obviously didn't. And where those kings' dead bodies were in the end was proof that what they had used as a source of refuge, what they put their hope in, it couldn't rescue them. And there are 2 things that struck me about that when I read that. One is the warning that is good for us to keep in mind all of the time, that if we use as our heart's number 1 refuge anything but God, if we feel most content when we have a certain level of success or comfort or power or wealth or whatever it is, if it's anything other than God, eventually it will prove to not be God. And our lives will prove it. Our eternities will prove it. Only God is God. And there's a warning there to have God as our refuge, as he invites us to. But the second thing I thought was, what a contrast to Jesus. You know, these were 5 kings who had hoped that by hiding in this cave they would find victory. But it ended up proving to be foolish, and they ended up being defeated in it. But Jesus, the times in his life when he looked to be defeated, ended up proving his victory. He looked defeated when they whipped him, and they made him bleed, and they pounded nails into him, and they dug thorns into his head. When he hung on a cross and started bleeding, and then died and was placed in a grave, dead, Jesus looked defeated. But on the 3rd day, he wasn't. He wasn't. And by his sacrificial death, and by his resurrection, neither are you. Ever. There will be times in life when you feel defeated. When you might even look out and it seems that you are defeated. When you suffer loss, trouble, tragedy, pain, when you've messed up, when someone else has, and their mistake has cost you. There are times when you may feel defeated. But Jesus lives, my friends. And so you never really are. You never are. We have a God whose seeming defeats will always eventually be proven to be his greatest victories. Rest well tonight, my friends.